Tools needed: 1.5, 2, and 2.5 hex drivers. You need a right height gauge, a turnbuckle tool, and a ball end remover. This is a no-back ballistic 8.5 found at Broadtech. Here's the ESC kinetic combo. Here is a S8 Meagle servo. Here's a TT02 horn I found it someplace on eBay. Got some Eagle batteries, LiPo 5400 saddle packs. Eagle gyro. Got some Eagle hard tires in the rear and Eagle hard round tires in the front. Got some stealth mounts as well. I like a lot of droop in my chassis, so I extended the ball cups in the bottom of the shocks so I get at least 12 millimeters of droop. I do that for front and rear. I'm going to show you how to do that. With your 1.5 millimeter hex driver, you want to hit the droop scoop right there and unscrew it. That'll be your starting point. You can do that on all four corners. 2 in the front, 2 in the rear. At full droop, my car all the way around can do 12 millimeters of droop. That means, let's say when I hit the brakes, the rear should technically be able to raise up with the wheel still touching. My static weight, just give it a little pop in the back, should be sitting at 5 millimeters. The way you adjust your ride height is by these collars right here. You adjust them. They don't affect the spring rate. They just affect the height. You're adding preload. If you need your chassis to be higher, just screw this down and it'll raise up your rear, or unscrew it and it'll lower it. On a smooth asphalt surface, I'm running the green springs in the rear, the third hole from the inside, and the second hole on the bottom. My wheel offset all the way around is 4 millimeters. Because I have the saddle pack weights in the back, I took out the weights from the rear right here because my chassis is evenly balanced at 50-50% front and rear. For the front, I'm using 4th hole from the inside and the 3rd hole in the bottom. I did extend the track width. You can put a 3 millimeter spacer inside here, or you can do what I did and make your own longer screw. I'll show you in my other video I'm going to be putting up soon. So currently on my setup, I'm running a 5 millimeter spacer in the front there. The KPI that I'm running is, I believe, the 6 degrees. See right here, that ball's right there, and that ball's on the outside right there. So it kind of gives it this kind of slant. What that does is, if I'm steering in this way, you can get more positive camber, which should help in stability. And it also gives the trailing tire positive camber as well. If you didn't use this, what would happen is your trailing tire would go negative, which should give you less grip. My homemade way of figuring out the caster angle. Usually some caster gauges don't go up this high, maybe they'll max out at 10, but this one right here goes up to 20. So what I do is I put my car on a flat surface and I'll just measure from the bottom arm to the top arm right there. This one actually says 12 degrees. So that's good. What I'm learning is caster makes the steering a little bit more smoother, makes it more balanced. What could happen if you have too much caster? It'll make your car have some understeer, so that can either work for you or against you. If your car easily spins out, you could probably add more caster, which will help your car get more sideways before spinning out, but at the same time it'll make your front end kind of sluggish and slower to respond left and right. When setting up your car for a 50-50 weight layout on a smooth asphalt surface, something that makes sense to me and has been, I guess, theoretically been working for me is, let's say if you want more rear end grip to prevent you from spinning out, you can make your rear shocks softer. And there's a lot of debate on how the shock angle affects your car, and this is what works for me. Whenever you bring the shock closer to the inside, it will become softer. You can do it on the bottom or you can do it on the top. So let's say I want to make this shock stiffer, I can bring this top part out, or I can bring the bottom out. If I want to make it softer, I can bring this one further in, or this one further in. Just keep in mind though, whenever you change the holes on either top or bottom, you have to reset your preload because the tension on this spring is going to be different. Now, some disadvantages at running your rear really soft is it'll be harder to get the car sideways and drifting because you have a lot of grip. So it kind of works against you. Yes, it'll help you from spinning out. You make the rear end super soft, but you might not be able to get sideways, and you'll be doing the opposite of drifting. So if you need the car to initiate easier, to spin out easier, want your rear spin out more, just go ahead and make this rear stiffer, like I said, by bringing this one out. Another little way of making the rear end more slippery or spin out easier is raising the rear ride height. I like running 5 in the rear on this car, and I actually run a 8 on the front. So the front is 8 millimeters higher and the rear is sitting at 5 millimeters. But like I said, they both go up to 12 millimeters in droop travel. Now with the front, let's say you want your front end to react quicker, you stiffen it up, give you more stability, make your front react faster, help keep you from spinning out a little bit. The downside is it could prevent you from drifting. So if you have the front too stiff, it's gonna make your rear hook up quicker. So let's say you go to initiate and get sideways, so you have, let's say the front's too stiff, it's gonna transplant a lot of weight to the rear, and you're just gonna grip up and end up pulling straight when you don't want it to. So what you can do, you can soften up the front by bringing the shock position further closer to the inside, and you can do the same thing with the bottom. But like I said, I'm running the 3rd hole on the bottom and the 5th hole from the inside. So let's say if you want the car to get a little more sideways before gripping up, you can soften the front shocks. It'll also help you crab a little bit more. The opposite, if you want to get less angle and go faster, you can stiffen up the front. Coming back to the caster, it is a little bit of a pain in the butt to get into this part right here, but this is how pretty much you can change your caster, just with these spacers, no spacers. You can bring it this way to give more positive caster, and back that way to give it less caster. A neat little trick that I did on this chassis right here. Some people said there was some slop on the steering. Other people were saying that on the rear it was kind of stiff. So easy solution, I replaced these ball cups, ball end and ball cup, with the steering rack. See, actually those normally belong in the back, so stiffens up the center rack a little bit. Meanwhile, the rear gets a little bit looser, so it squats and compresses and droops up very easily. Inside the rear, I have the 1.56 FRD rear helical gear. On my Eagle gyro, I'm running 50% gyro strength. In case some people are wondering, there's another trim adjustment inside one of those holes right there. Basically what that is for, you want to make sure your gyro is centered properly too, so after you center your steering, you might also have to center your gyro. Take your little flathead screwdriver, you throw it in there and you adjust it until that light is between green and red. So I think on some kits they show up as orange. So once you have this gyro set equally, and let's say your steering is off, you can just go ahead and adjust your steering right here. To get better throw on my steering, I added some spacers right here, 5 millimeters. That gives it better angle, so when the car goes full lock this way, it still has strength to push the steering rack back that way so it doesn't bind up. Now the front is about 1 degree toe out, and Ackerman, I kind of like it almost parallel, maybe just a slight bit of Ackerman, and Ackerman pretty much means that let's say your leading wheel goes full lock, it means that your trailing wheel will be a little bit toed out in that direction. The less Ackerman that you have, your car will transition faster, but you'll crab less and you'll also might get less angle too. So I like my car staying within angle. I like it getting as much angle as possible. So I think it looks really good. Here's an important thing to note if you're trying to adjust your Ackerman. The way you do that is with the bottom steering rack. You can do a quick fix by adjusting the toe. Right now it looks like a lot of toe, but when I put it flat on the ground it evens out to about 1 degree toe out. But if you need more parallel lock, see this arm here, hit that arm there. You actually have to bring those arms closer to the inside and then readjust your toe back out. That will give your steering wipers enough throw, give your front steering more parallel lock. Also, forgot to mention I'm running 1 degree toe in on the rear. And then if you need to make changes, the TT02 FRD kit comes with these little nylon spacers. Doesn't look like much, but these things actually make a world of difference. This is the blue alloy upgrade you can get from Eagle Racing. I think it looks really nice. And there you have it, a Blue Star for You tune for the TT02 FRD by Eagle Racing. A super capable chassis, and I just love the realism of this motor right there, and the transmission and the shaft. That thing is a truly awesome layout. I love everything about this car. Also, don't forget to check out the Tri-Acres RC drift track that I built here in Concord. It's on fxx-d Weddington Rd in Concord, North Carolina, 28027. We have a awesome track, and these Eagle hard tires work perfectly with 50/50 weight distributions. The track is awesome, and I'm constantly adding new things. So just stay tuned and keep an eye out for that. If I make any changes to the chassis, I'll let you know. But right now, this is my current setup, and it's very competitive. Looking for a competitive setup? Try this one. Ta-da!